I'm not observing that. Okay. Fine.
That's what we decided to do.
Hello, Max. Welcome.
Afternoon, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I hope you stay throughout the session so you can make some contributions.
Okay, I'll try to, sir.
Okay,
Thank
Max,
you.
thanks.
No, you're not going to try to do that. You have to.
I will, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. President. I will.
I'm going to try to.
Okay, it's exactly 2 p.m. and I think it's time we start. I mean, I can observe that we only have about 37 people in the room, but we expect more numbers because we have, at the moment, more than 1,500 people registered for this session today. My name is Tobenna Erojikwe, and I welcome all the delegates and participants to today's training session. This particular session of the MBA ICLE was actually an initiative of the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, and he has graciously accepted to lead on this by being the first speaker in this series. Considering that the participants are expected to be mostly new wigs, I think it's only right and proper that we introduce the Nigerian Bar Association Institute of Continuing Legal Education. And then after that, introduce the speaker for today, who happens to be the president of Nigerian Bar Association. The MBA ICLE, which is Nigerian Bar Association Institute of Continuing Legal Education, was set up in 2008, pursuant to the provisions of the RPC 2007 that required members of the MBA to have mandatory compulsory training before having being licensed to practice at each given year. So what the MBA-ICLE does is to accredit training providers and to provide training for members of the Nigerian Bar Association, and then to certify those who are actually qualified to practice. So I think that's a brief introduction for as far as the MBA-ICLE is concerned. Now, today's session is tagged the New Wigs Handholding Series, Session 1. And the topic for discussion today is the overview of the legal profession in Nigeria. And just to put things in context, in December or so, we had over 4,000 new entrants into the legal profession in Nigeria. And prior to that, much earlier in the middle of the year, we had another batch of lawyers who also qualified to practice in Nigeria. The president thought it wise to have an initiative that introduced members of the bar into the profession as a high-level sort of training, but at least it gives you a sense of what is and what is not in the profession. So it is my pleasure this afternoon to introduce the speaker for today. The speaker for today is Mr. Yakubu Chonoko Mikiao, Officer of the Order of the Niger, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. He's the founder of the law firm YC Mikiao & Co., established in 2003. He's a seasoned dispute resolution expert, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK, and Fellow of the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators. Mr. Mikiao is an active member of the legal community in Nigeria. He's currently serving as the 31st President of the Nigerian Bar Association. He's also a member of the International Bar Association, the IBA. As a member of the Nigerian Bar Association, he has served in many capacities. As a member, NBA Legal Profession Regulation Review Committee, which made far-reaching recommendations for the reform of the profession in Nigeria, culminating in the Legal Profession Regulation Bill. He was chairman, not disciplinary committee from 2012 to 2014, chairman, Law and Individual Rights Committee of the MBA section on legal practice, MBSLP, member ad hoc welfare committee on COVID-19 pandemic relief, chairman, MBA welfare committee from 2020 to 2022, council member, MBA SLP, and member, MBA National Executive Council since 2018. As an advocate, Mr. Mikiao gained recognition by his participation as counsel in the Human Rights Violation Commission of Investigation Commission of Nigeria, the Oputu panel. He has handled several notable cases that have had impact on the Nigerian jurisprudence, one of which is Re Abdullahi, 2018 NWLR Part 2721639, where he persuaded the Supreme Court of Nigeria to reach a novel decision allowing the substitution of a deceased appellant in a criminal appeal with the administrators of his estate for the purpose of preserving the civil rights in the estate. Beyond litigation, he has advised on some project finance and facility disbursement matters and has served on arbitral tribunals in various capacities. Outside the field of law, Mr. Mikiao is a graduate of the Rema Bible Training Center, Nigeria, where he obtained a diploma in ministerial training with emphasis on societal leadership. He's a community development and welfare enthusiast. He's the patron of the Purpose Global Academy in Lanco, Kebbi State, 100% tuition-free school, and has been responsible for several free medical outreaches in his home state, Kebbi State. YC Mikiao is happily married to Zainab, and they are blessed with 4 children: Israel Damayan, Princess Sarah, King David, and Queen Esther. Before yielding the floor to the president, just a few housekeeping rules. There'll be question time immediately after the president's presentation, and I'll ask you to please kindly put your questions in the Q&A box so that it's easy to retrieve. So I now yield the floor to the president, the 31st president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Yakubu Chonoko Mikiao, officer of the Order of Niger, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tobena Erojikwe. You've been so magnanimous and kind in telling our attendees this afternoon that this meeting was convened by me. That was quite gracious of you. The task has already been given to you. You only made it possible for me to be on this platform to speak to our colleagues, use the opportunity to welcome our colleagues to the profession of law in this country. I thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate the good work that the Institute of Continuing Legal Education is doing for not only our younger colleagues at the bar, but for all of us that are privileged to be called to the Nigerian bar. The quality of trainings seminars that the Institute holds for our own, for our benefit. So I use this opportunity, using the privilege of being the president of the Nigerian Bar Association at this time, to welcome all our colleagues to the Nigerian Bar. I know you had gone through a period of studies, you had your dreams, you spent time in school studying, going through a series of exams, you exhibited hard work, resilience, and patience. And eventually, by the special grace of God, we were all admitted as barristers and solicitors and barristers of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. I congratulate you on being admitted into the Africa largest bar. I say congratulations to all of you. Now, what we have today is what has been described as hand-holding series. It is simply hand-holding, not because you are any more children whose hands must be held to walk you from one point to the other, but it's just descriptive of the responsibility that is upon those that have preceded you, those that have gone ahead of you and are members of this profession. They have gained one or two experiences, and it is only important for those of you that are coming into the profession that, as the description goes, we guide you. So literally speaking, I mean, we described it as hand-holding, but what we are trying to do is to afford you the benefit of the experience of having gone ahead of you, so that those pitfalls that we couldn't avoid, if we share our experiences with you, you'll be able to avoid those pitfalls, and your journey would be smoother than the ones of those ahead of you. That is the reason we are doing this, and I welcome you to this first in the series of our whole hand-holding sessions. Now, who are you as a lawyer? I've studied in several fora, and it's something that we have to keep talking about every now and then. As a legal practitioner, first and foremost, you must understand the fact that you are the only professional amongst other professionals that has had the privilege of being trained, being schooled and educated primarily in the subject of laws. You went to school to study law. And when you came out of school, the description of you as a professional is that you are a minister in the temple of justice. Now, sometimes that description seems to be restricted to those who go to court to practice law. But it goes beyond that. As a lawyer, you are one person who, having been trained in the subject of laws, is primarily called to the business of dispensing justice. And justice is not only dispensed when you go to court to litigate or to be a litigation lawyer, that is to represent parties in disputes in court in order for them to resolve the disputes within the ambit of what the law has provided. Yes, it is part of what you are called to do, but you understand also that when you sit and interact with people, members of the community, members of your family, members of maybe your church or in your mosque or wherever you find yourself, and you begin to educate them in the understanding of what they should do within the ambit of law, then you are also discharging justice as you do that, because the education that you are giving to them is something that will help them stay within the bounds of law, conduct themselves as the law has prescribed that they should conduct themselves. And that way you are also giving light, giving illumination in their responsibilities, civic responsibilities, because it is you who knows what the law has provided in that particular respect. So maybe to put it in better context, Nigeria, for instance, is a nation of laws. It is law that has created Nigeria, and it is this law that prescribes who we are. It prescribes all the institutions that you know in this country, because it is by the Constitution that we have come to be as a country. And it is by that Constitution that every other law that has been put in place by the legislative arm of government, the National Assembly or the state houses of assembly across the 36 states, whatever structures that are put in place draw their strength or their existence from the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it is you and I who are privileged to understand all these laws, understand the ramifications of the laws. And it is you who, as a lawyer, if any matter comes up with respect to any particular law, that has the understanding by reason of your training to pray into the spirit and the intendment of the law by those who sat down to put the law together. And that is how you are able to apply the law. So that puts you in a special position, because it is when you deal with the issues affecting the citizens in the country Nigeria, for instance, within the ambit of the law, that number one, you are providing justice to them. Because what is justice? Justice is dealing with people within the ambit of what the law has provided for them to have the things that they are supposed to do, their civil and responsibilities, the obligations that are created, so that when there is anything that falls below that particular standard, you are called in to interpret it. You are called in to define the conduct of the person gauged by the law, which prescribes a particular code of conduct for that person or group of persons in that particular area. So you can see that your responsibility, first and foremost, is to the people. You are called to be that beacon of light to the people. You are called to actually provide direction. By the very first Nigerian called to the English bar as a barrister, Sir Christopher Sapara Williams, who said, and in that statement, he simply encapsulated the primary responsibility of a legal practitioner. And he said, a legal practitioner is called or lives for the direction of his people and for the advancement of the cause of his country. So you can see that he identified two responsibilities of a legal practitioner. And he said that these are the two reasons why a legal practitioner lives. It means that anytime we are not providing guidance to the people, anytime we are not living for the cause of the nation, then we are not living, not in terms of having ceased to have life, in terms of the cessation of life, but it's in terms of providing the contribution or bringing that supply that only you can bring to bear in the nation and on your people, because you are a member of the legal profession. Why is it so? The direction of the people can only be provided within the context of the law. The advancement of the cause of the people can only be provided and understood within the ambit of the laws, and only you are privileged to have been trained in that subject. So everybody looks up to you. The architects cannot do that. The doctors cannot do that. Even the doctors rely on you to tell them the legal framework upon which they are to operate as doctors. The architects do the same thing. The engineers do the same thing. So while we recognize the importance, the critical importance of all these professionals in the scheme of things within the polity, but the lawyer takes that primary role of providing leadership to the people and living for the advancement of the cause of the country. And you can see that that comes, so the privilege of being a member of that noble profession, that is actually why the profession of law is described as a noble profession, because it's one that caters for the people primarily, And that comes with a lot of responsibility. For you to be able to provide leadership to the people, those people that you provide leadership for or that you are expected to lead must have confidence in you, must have confidence not just in your ability to provide leadership, they must have confidence in your sincerity, and that can only be seen from your own conduct. That is why, side by side with that privilege and the understanding of your responsibility to the people, we all need to conduct ourselves properly to make sure that we elicit that confidence from the people. And that again takes me to a statement that Adetokunbo Ademola made. He was the Chief Justice of the Federation, and he said that the respect in which any bar is held in any country is the best indication of the freedom that that country enjoys. And you know, the only way you can elicit respect from anyone is by your proper conduct. It's for you to be professional, it's for you to be. And that is why, if you recall, when my good friend and brother, Jobenda Erojikwe, began his introduction of the Institute of Continuing Legal Aid, and he made reference to RPC. And when he said RPC, it's because I'm sure he's forgotten that we are dealing with people, colleagues that have just come on board. And so RPC is the rules of professional conduct. We have rules of professional conduct. This time it is of 2007. So we have these rules that guide our conduct. Those rules are meant to make sure that as professional, ethical, and the bottom line is to present us as men of honor, as men of integrity, and so that we'll be able to elicit that confidence from the public in order to provide that leadership that we are called to give to them. I would go into maybe some historical backgrounds about the legal profession in this country, but permit me to just speak to you about myself. You know, so I'm saying this because there may be some of you that have been called to the bar and wondering, do you really merit to be where you are? Or are you able to cope with the demands of the profession? It's important for me to share my experience with you, just so that you know that if this young man who is speaking to you this afternoon would get to the place where he is in the profession, to fret, you have no reason whatsoever to fear, because you are destined for greatness. How do I mean? My parents never went to school. I was a student of veterinary medicine. When I was admitted to read law, I never applied to read law. It's a story for another day, but fast forward, I went to school not even having the understanding of what it means to be a lawyer. I graduated when I did. I knew no jack about law. When I went to court for the first time, my colleagues who saw me, who knew the lifestyle that I lived in school, who also understood that going to court or litigation is not something that is caught for unserious people. So seeing someone like me in court, all of them were surprised. They actually walked up to me to ask what I came to do in court. But there I was. I mean, I didn't understand what I was doing there. I knew that I didn't know the law that I should know to bring me to that place of practice, comfortable place of practice. And because I had that realization of the deficit in that respect that I have, and knowing that I didn't have any options at all, the only thing that I had to do was to sit up and begin to study law and begin to study. I made use of my weekends. And today the story is completely different. I would usually say to people that I was a very good example of who not to be as a student when I was in the university, even up to the time I went to the law school. But I qualified as a lawyer in 1990, even though I had, because of that lifestyle, that truancy that we exhibited in the university, had to repeat a year in the university. But as it turned out today, I'm a senior advocate, and I am now the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, by the special grace of God and through dint of hard work. So I say to any one of you who is wondering, what can I do? Do I really have a space in this profession? I say to you that you do, because from a human standpoint, you even have better credentials to get to not only where I am, but even beyond, because of the things that you enjoy in terms of your parental background, the availability of guidance and all. And I'm sure there is hardly any one of you that went to study law without any guidance from your own parents, because I believe there is none of you here whose parents are uneducated. So I want to say to you that just expose yourself to the knowledge of what is available in the legal profession, and that is principally what the Institute of Continuing Legal Education is doing and would continue to do for you. We are just beginning this series, and I want to say to you that you lend yourselves, expose yourself to these opportunities. You have a lot to learn, world-class trainings that the Institute of Continuing Legal Education provides. You may have suffered similar experiences as myself. Maybe you are not as equipped as you should. Coming out of school, the Institute of Continuing Legal Education will provide for you the avenue for you to, and the opportunity for you to improve yourself and properly position yourself for the practice that you are called to. Now, the origins of legal practice in Nigeria, the first qualified sets, of barristers in England, they all had automatic licenses in England to practice, particularly within all the colonies, which included Nigeria. And we had common law jurisdiction like most of the Anglo-Saxon economies and the English colonies. And it was not until 1879 when we had the first Nigerian, that is Chief Christopher Alexander Sapara Williams, to qualify as a barrister. I'm sure many of you know that in England, when you are either called as a solicitor or as a barrister, which is different from the practice in Nigeria, where we do both. We are called both as barristers and solicitors of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. I recall that back in the years before you would venture into your own practice, you would have to stay and have a tutelage for about 5 years. And there, only then can you begin your own practice. That had been taken away, but that is still the practice in England. I've not practiced, I'm not qualified to practice in England, but that is what obtains in England. Now, it's important for you to know that over time, it's been the practice to speak about law practice only in the context of litigation. But that is not the case. So we find many lawyers called to the bar that are still trying to find their feet, and the only area where they are looking to is the area of litigation. And it appears that all of us are putting our attention to that particular area and actually not paying attention or neglecting other emerging areas of law where you can actually go and specialize in those particular areas and build your practice and build a name, build a reputation for yourself outside of litigation. And I say to you, for those, and I will speak to that in a moment, but it's also important to know that it is not only litigation that is available. There are other areas of law you can actually be exposed to the practice of intellectual property, finance law. There is the energy law, where you have people who specialize in oil and gas practice. is fintech, employment law, taxation, insolvency. You already know that people are going to the space. So there is also space law. Nigeria is also investing a lot in the area of agriculture, the area of mining. There are also specializations in those areas. You can specialize in mining law. You can specialize in maritime practice. You can also specialize in the area of agriculture. There is also entertainment law and also the sports law. These are all areas where you can develop your capacity and create a niche for yourself. And it's important for us to begin to do that. I say this because globalization as a result of information technology has foisted on us competition. We are in a global village. The competition that we have is not just with the lawyers or our colleagues within our immediate jurisdiction. I mean, so you have your colleagues who are in Singapore, you have your colleagues who are in New York, you have your colleagues who are in Canada. I mean, you are exposed to the same market. It is the same quality of practice that you are expected to display in whatever area of law that you choose to practice. And I want to say to all of you, the earlier you begin to create and identify an area where you want to concentrate your practice and develop your capacity, the better for all of us. The continent of Africa is not as lit because there are still lots of infrastructural deficit, a lot of activities, investments are coming into Africa. There is no other place that has not been as developed as the continent of Africa. It is important for us to begin to prepare ourselves for the investments that are coming. I mean, take for instance, Nigeria, which is the biggest economy in the continent of Africa. You know the deficits that we have in terms of infrastructure, electricity, our roads, our transportation. All these areas, we have potentials in our market, and investors are interested in coming into Nigeria. And that is why it is important as lawyers, we begin to guide the nation, we begin to provide direction to the nation so we can fix this issue of security, insecurity rather in the country, because without security, you cannot even attract investment into the country. And that is why for those of you who follow the activities of the Nigerian Bar Association, we had the National Dialogue on the 30th of January, where we interrogated, we had conversation around 3 thematic areas of security, economy, and administration of justice. That was intended for us to set the tone for the country, set the discussion that those who are seeking to lead this country will begin to consider, because it is our responsibility as members of the legal profession to provide guidance in this particular respect to Nigerians. Why we decided to do that. And it is important for us to do so because only we can call our leaders into account. We need to hold them into account to the stewardship that Nigerians have given to them. Now, going further to talk about the Nigerian Bar Association, the Nigerian Bar Association has sections. We have 3 sections in the NBA, and every member of the Nigerian Bar Association is expected to belong to at least 1 section. We have the section of business law, which is SBL, section of legal practice, and then section of public interest and development law, which is FIDEL. It is important for every member of the Nigerian Bar Association to be a part of the sections. And then the sections are structured to provide sector-specific career development. If you go to SPIDEL, you'll be exposed to public interest litigation. If you go to SLP, you know, it's the section of legal practice. There are, of course, we also talk about litigation in that area, but it is not as the attention in SPIDL is with respect to public interest litigation, as opposed to SLP, the section on legal practice, where you are exposed to general litigation principles and regiment. Of course, the section of business law, all the commercial practices, and these other areas of law that we talked about, the fintech, the space law, all these areas of commercial practice, oil and gas, energy law, and all, exposing yourself to any of these sections will give you the benefit of participating and improving yourself in this respect. And the membership to participate in all programs of the section, including the trainings. Once you register as a member of the section, you are entitled as a member to participate in the conferences of the sections and the trainings, which always come often. And I'm sure in another month from now, we might have a conference either of that of the section of public interest and that of the section of legal practice, followed by that of the section of business law before the annual general conference that is scheduled to hold in August of this year. And within the sections, there are also other committees. You will have the opportunity to also participate in the activities of the committees in those sections. So that gives you an opportunity, if you have ideas you want to share, maybe you want to, there are issues of policy that you want to share that would impact on what government is doing. That is an opportunity for you to sit with the sections, it provides you with the opportunity to interface with government. The Nigerian Bar Association also at certain levels interface with government. We make available our own suggestions and recommendations on how certain government policies should be run. And that is an opportunity for you to share your own views in this respect. And let me say that none of you should look down on yourselves. You are young men, yes, you just got into the profession, but you are very resourceful, you are very energetic, you're very intelligent, you are very purposeful. The language that we speak in the globe today is your own language, and it is you who are in better position to understand what is being spoken and also to relate with the recent development across the globe and help develop policies that will advance the cause of this nation. So it is also an opportunity to network with your colleagues and have the opportunity to interface with various colleagues. I mean, there are some of you who may not meet your colleagues since you've left school until you attend conferences of the sections, or maybe the annual general conference as well. So it is advisable. I mean, we recommend very strongly that members of the Nigerian Bar Association register in at least one of the sections. We also have the fora, the NBA fora. They cater for specific interest groups. For instance, we have the Young Lawyers Forum. We have young lawyers. We also have a structure for that forum where we discuss issues that relate with the peculiar challenges that particular group of lawyers always face. These are lawyers within the first year post-call to 7 years of post-call. And then we have the Women Forum. This Women Forum, they sit together, and there is no age limit in that respect. So you can be a member of the Young Lawyers Forum and also belong to the Women's Forum. But they sit down and deal with peculiar issues that our female folks deal with in the profession and provide avenues to deal with them. It's very important to identify with such a forum and participate and take benefits of what they do in that forum. General Counsel Forum, we have in-house counsel, those lawyers or our colleagues that work in corporations and firms. In-house lawyers, they have their forum. We also have the Law Officers Association, they equally have their forum. These are our colleagues that work with government I mean, I work with Ministry of Justice, the Federal Ministry of Justice, and also our colleagues in the states ministries of justice. These are law officers. They are the ones that help in the formulation of policies. If you understand the way that works, I mean, in the Ministry of Justice, all ministries come to the Ministry of Justice. It is the hub through which the activities of all the ministries in the state are processed and taken to the chief executive in the case of a governor, and for the policies of government to be implemented. So it's very important for you to identify this fora and see where you rightly belong, because we have benefits participating in this fora. We also must talk about our colleagues that live with one challenge, physical challenge or the other. They describe the forum is described as lawyers living with disability. I mean, like I would always say, we all live with one form of disability or the other. I mean, I am almost 7 feet tall. I went somewhere, even though my height is supposed to help me gain visibility, where I went to that because I stood under a canopy. I couldn't see the congregation on the other side. That was also a challenge. Why am I saying this? We seem to look down on our colleagues that are suffering from one physical challenge or the other. That is not right. Many of us are dealing with one challenge or the other that is not seen, is not visible to the eye, but the fact that others have what you see as physical disability is no reason you look down on them. I have a colleague in my office who is challenged in her sight. A very wonderful colleague, very resourceful and intelligent, made a 2-1 in the university and a 2-1 at the law school. Very, very intelligent, very resourceful. You give her an assignment, you can be sure that you are getting your results immediately, and the quality of the output is always amazing. So it's very important that you do that. As we welcome you into the profession, please identify any of the fora and be a part of it. We talked about professional conduct a bit. It's the reason that we are seen and respected, and it's the reason we are able to elicit the confidence and the respect of the people for us to be able to provide that leadership to them. So we have to be careful about and pay attention to the Legal Practitioners Act. The Legal Practitioners Act is actually the legislation from which even the rules of professional conduct derives its own life. There is the General Counsel of the Bar that is given the responsibility of the rules of professional conduct. It is the General Counsel of the Bar in the Legal Practitioners Act that is the body that is responsible for drawing up the rules of professional conduct. And then we also have the Legal Practitioner Disciplinary Committee under the Legal Practitioners Act. That is the body that deals with issues of professional misconduct by lawyers. So you have the rules of professional conduct. If what you do as in the practice of law does not line up, does not agree with the rules of professional conduct, you are likely going to find yourself facing disciplinary action before the Legal Practitioner Disciplinary Committee. So it is very important that we look out for what we can do, what we cannot do, our relationship with our own colleagues, so that we can conduct ourselves properly and provide the necessary leadership that we are called to provide. Let me just say this. Someone said to me, and that was my principle, that if only I can have 20% knowledge of law and 80% integrity in my practice of law, he said to me, I would be a successful lawyer. if I have only 20% knowledge of law and 80% honesty and integrity, then I'll be a successful lawyer. But if you swap the proportion and what you have in terms of the knowledge of is 80% and your integrity is only 20%, you are not likely to survive. You may seem to blossom for a little while, but after a while, it will be seen that you are not even honest because you have only 20% integrity and honesty. You are not even honest about the law that you know, the 80% law that you know. But if you are only one that has 20% knowledge of law and 80% honesty and integrity, you will be honest about how much you know in law, and you are not going to dabble into an area that you do not know. You will not lie about it. You'll be honest and sincere to your clients, and that way you stay with your honor, that way you stay with your integrity, and that way you also earn the respect of your clients. What are the benefits of being a member of the Nigerian Bar Association? Number one is this training that we are going through by the Institute of Continuing Legal Education. It is free. Like I said, these are top class trainings. If you check out the content of any of the trainings, and I believe you will subsequently be exposed to these trainings, compare them with trainings by high institutions or organizations that provide those trainings. These are trainings that go for as much as $5,000, $10,000, and you have to leave the comfort of your home to travel or where you stay, to travel to some location, pay also accommodation and transport fees for me to access those trainings for that much fee. You have also subsidized health insurance policy through the NBA NHIS scheme. We have entered into NHIS scheme. We have a memorandum of understanding with the National Health Insurance Scheme, which is now National Health Insurance Authority. It provides insurance cover, and under the new act that came into effect in 2022, there is now a provision for a mandatory health insurance cover, universal health insurance cover. So everyone is supposed to have a health insurance cover, and the Nigerian Bar Association is the first professional body that would enter into that memorandum of understanding with National Health Insurance Authority to provide health insurance cover for its members for the sum of 15,000 naira only. 15,000 naira only is all that you have to pay, and we also have the opportunity to bring in even non-members of our families, non-members, yes, non-lawyers of in our family to enjoy the same insurance cover. You will enjoy complete primary, complete secondary, and to an extent, tertiary health insurance service to an extent, including major short surgeries. It is an insurance cover, but you can come into the insurance policy as you are, with your physical condition, with your health condition, with your health history, and you'll be taken in with the sum of 15,000 naira only. There is also automatic NBA life and insurance policy. We don't pray that happens, but should that occur, there is a payout of 2 million naira. We are planning to negotiate with the insurance company to have something, and then if you suffer any injury, that is capable of performing your duty the way you should. Once you are in good financial standing, you enjoy that insurance cover, and you can get 1 million naira as a payout in that respect. Law Pavilion access is a tool, it's an electronic tool that we use as lawyers. That is subsidized. It's a product that goes for 90,000 naira. But as we speak, we entered into a partnership with Law Pavilion. And Law Pavilion has given it to us at the rate of 5,000 naira for our colleagues of 1 to 7. We have subscribed for over 10,000 of our colleagues, and we intend to do more. And so we encourage you to participate in the activities of the Nigerian Bar Association, be in good financial standing, and you can enjoy this benefit. Another benefit you enjoy is access to finance. the Nigerian Bar Association has put together 1.5 billion by my predecessor, Mr. Olumide Akpata. That sum of money is there in the bank. It is meant to be a means of backstopping credit finance that given to lawyers that have satisfied certain requirements. That started last year. We are continuing with it. We have that money safely kept in the bank. We're trying to work out modalities to be able to make sure that we get the best of interest rates with the banks and ensure that all the requirements for a smooth working of that credit finance is made available. The MBA Institute of Continuing Legal Education, it is part of what they are doing and will continue to do that we are enjoying right now. I just want you to enter into a very deep romance with the Institute of Continuing Legal Education. You will not regret it. It's a source for you to continue to improve yourself and properly position yourself for an awesome time that you are set to have as a member of the legal community in this country. I mean, courses, scheduled courses on intellectual property, arbitration, insolvency, energy law and policy, criminal procedural law and practice, trade law, digital information and others. You are encouraged to participate in the mentorship series of the Institute of Continuing Legal Education. An area that is of concern to us is the area of the remuneration of legal practitioners. The remuneration is definitely poor. What are we doing as members of the legal profession? The immediate past administration set up a remuneration committee that did an intensive and painstaking work, went to different jurisdictions and saw how things are done, came up with a report, and we have a white paper, have taken up that responsibility now. We are discussing with the Office of the Honorable Attorney General to set up legal practitioners remuneration committee under Section 15 of the Legal Practitioners Act. What do we intend to achieve? You and I know that if you enter into a simple contract with Mr. A to provide legal service and want to work with him in his own firm, and you agree that he's going to pay you a certain amount of money, it is contract. He could decide to pay you any amount. Once you accept it, you seal the deal. But we are saying we are not going to allow seniors or employers of our colleagues, I mean, those who employ our colleagues, to simply pay them peanuts. So what we are planning to do, and we already have a white paper, we have a recommendation which we have passed to the Honorable Attorney General. It should be made into an order pursuant to Section 15 of the Legal Practitioners Act. And then it now carries the status of a subsidiary legislation, so that what you see there as the minimum that you must pay your colleague remains the minimum. Anything beyond that, anything below that, you would be cited for having misconducted yourself, and you'd be liable to be tried before the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, because it means that you are also not treating your own colleague in the honor and respect that you ought to treat your colleague. But we have to make it binding on our colleagues, something that is enforceable. Otherwise, if it remains within the realm of simple contracts, then the privity of contract would exclude us from coming in to enforce whatever agreement that you have entered into. And then it means that employers can decide to pay you anything. And for those of our colleagues who would be undercutting, you go there without standardization of fees, you ask for 2,000, somebody goes somewhere and asks for 1 naira and simply tells the client that don't mind the other fellow, I can do it for you for 1 naira. We find you doing that. When this order comes into effect, then it also becomes a case of professional misconduct, and you'll be liable to be tried for professional misconduct for doing that. I want to thank you for the opportunity of given to me by the Institute. I thank you for lending your ears to me. I think at this point, I should stop here and take questions from our participants. The more so that I'm able to answer. If I'm not able to answer those questions, I'm sure my friends here also assist. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Maybe before coming on, I'll just make a few comments on the president's presentation first, and then invite Max and Nana to say something before we get to question time. And Mr. President, thank you very much. You've very quickly taken us through the history of the legal profession in Nigeria. Brilliant mentorship session. I think participants would have taken a lot from your own life experiences as a practitioner. You touched on specialization and the diversity in the profession, introduced us to the sections and the fora, and also talked extensively about member benefits and generally gave a robust overview of the profession in Nigeria. I was quite happy to hear the things you had to say, and I'm sure that the participants were too. As far as participants are concerned, please put your questions in we have only about 9 questions. We would like to take more. And then please continue the chat on the chat box. Nana, are you there? Or Max, do you want to make a few comments before we go to question time?
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. My apologies.
And also charging us to be the best of what we can be. Let me join Mr. President in welcoming you to the biggest bar in Africa, as we say, and to say that we must all continue to develop ourselves in a manner that enables competent lawyers, but also to be competitive in the leagues all over the world, to engage with in the profession, not just our colleagues regimented within our own legal space in Nigeria. And this is what the Institute of Council of Legal Education continues to do through Mr. Tobenna Irojikwe, and we thank him for this opportunity. Perhaps I just want to make a comment or two about the need for integrity and honor as a lawyer within the legal profession. You have joined at a time where we have had recent and information about, some lawyers acting on the sidelines, and some of us, and some of them really look up to note that although these things have happened recently, that it is not the character of a lawyer to behave in a manner as to disrupt the relationship between the lawyer and his client or that of fellow colleagues. And so it's important for us to continue to act in a way that imbues us integrity. The relationship between a lawyer and that of his client, and essentially the society, is that built on mutual trust and respect. The fiduciary nature of that relationship also imposes on us through rules of professional conduct, the need and the duty to be diligent and to deliver, our responsibilities and to discharge our responsibilities, honorably and with some high level of integrity. And to do otherwise would also result in this responsibility mutating to some form of liability, both within the legal space and outside the legal space, as it were. I encourage you all to take cue from the speech of Mr. President, and I'm happy to join my voice in answering any of the questions preferred, if so delegated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nana. Someone just informed me that the chat box is disabled. Wole, can you do something about that? Yeah, thank you very much, Nana. Very interesting contributions. Integrity is all we are about. Reputation is all that a lawyer has. Thank you. Grateful for that contribution. I will only also make the point that our life insurance payment is actually now 2 million. And not 1 million at the moment. Mabel, I will yield the floor to you so that you can take the questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, on behalf of the ICLE and the participants, I must thank you profusely. It is said that we will be the same in the next 5 years, but for the people we meet and the books we read, indeed, your session has been quite insightful and very helpful for our young lawyers. From the questions, we have over 19 questions at the moment. We see a lot of appreciation from our colleagues. I'll just run through a very few of them. Debbie asks the question, can we have the program outline for each session? I believe this would be helpful. Has are just coming. And then someone else has asked a very interesting question, how they would benefit from the free law pavilion subscription that is provided for young lawyers. And someone else also has asked if they can get, how they can access the MBA insurance scheme. I think I'll allow Mr. President to respond to the few questions.
Thank you very much, Mabel. Number one, the law pavilion. All we need, number one, you are within the age bracket for the commitment that the association has made to make that subscription for you. So if you are within 1 to 7, all we need to know is that you have paid your bar practice fee as and when due. And that's it. I mean, we just collect the information. And let me say this as I speak to the issue of those of our colleagues that are yet to collect or that are yet to be assigned their Supreme Court numbers. We are working, that is done at the level of the Supreme Court. And the Bar Services Department of the Nigerian Bar, obviously the Office of the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court, to ensure that those numbers are given. I recall that for the purpose of the payment of bar practicing fee for this year, from last year, what we tried to do was to create a platform where we could use exam numbers for our colleagues that are yet to collect, yet to be assigned their Supreme Court numbers to be able to do that transaction. So yes, that is what you need to do. And then the issue of also automatic, once you are in good standing with Nigerian Bar Association, that is in terms of the payment of your bar practicing fee. These are things that you enjoy as a matter of course once you meet that threshold. Also saw in the chat box a question about this insurance, health insurance, whether the 15,000 naira that Mr. A pays, who is a lawyer, covers other members of his family. No, it is 15,000 naira per person. So, but the thing about it is that all you need to be able to cover all the members of your family is just to have a lawyer in your family or even in the entire community. If you happen to be the only lawyer in your community and you have 1,000 of your members in the community, each one of them, and if you have the means, you can pay 15,000 for each one of them, and they will enjoy a health insurance cover. So it's 15,000 naira per person. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonard Silk. Mr. Chukuma Onyekwelu has asked that when will the MBA start implementing Rule 12 of the RPC? the practice certificate, if stamp and seal can be and making it available to members.
I totally agree with you, Chikuba. And as we speak right now, I don't have it with me. I would have shown you the sample of how the certificate would be, but you can be rest assured that maybe in a couple of weeks from now, all those that have paid their bar practicing fee receive. We are trying to digitize the process. We are working on it so that we can get proper security features of them, and you will receive them in your own mails. I don't want to talk about the security features on it, but that is what we are working on. And there is no reason why you shouldn't get your practice license or practice certificate. You can be rest assured that maybe latest by the end of next month in your mail. So yes, there is no reason to stop you from getting it, and you will get it.
Thank you, Leonard Silk. There's another question from Chukwu Jinodu, but you have touched on it, so I'll take two questions together. He says, the welfare of new wigs is almost zero. When it comes to remuneration, what is the MBA doing to improve this? Then going to the question by Oluwaseun Ojeleye, she says, can you please throw more light on mentoring by the MBA planning to start, whereby young lawyers who are looking at starting up a law firm can tap into? Commencing date, procedures, and terms.
Yeah. So what is the MBA doing? I touched on that when I in the course of my remarks. I said that we had a detailed work that was done by the immediate past administration on the remuneration of lawyers, concerned about the challenge with how young lawyers are treated and all, and to make sure that we standardize the fees. We would work can come in to supervise and enforce all those what that we have agreed upon as an association with the with some statutory flavor, and that is why we have to go through the route of what section under the Legal Practitioners Act to get the Honorable Attorney General to set up that remuneration committee for legal practitioners. And once that is done, then the recommendations that we have for the remuneration of legal practitioners and the standardization of legal fees can pass as an order under that law. That way, it becomes enforceable and binding on every legal practitioner that engages in business in Nigeria. That is one way we believe we can assuage the difficulties that our younger colleagues are going through. And so to answer your question, that is what the Nigerian Bar Association is doing. And I am working very closely with the Office of the Honorable Attorney General. He has already given an instruction to the Permanent Secretary for us to begin to work on that. I actually sent a reminder, and I'm meeting with, after this, our session, I'm having a meeting with the Solicitor General and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Justice. And this is one of the issues that we'll take up. And if you don't mind, just to let you know that this is exactly what we're doing, I can push the information of the letter that we did either on the platform of ICL so that you'll be able to see it and know what we are doing in that respect. And if you check the provision of Section 15 of the LPA, you can actually look at it and have a sense of what we are trying to do in that regard. Thank you, Nida.
Thank you, Leonard. So, Fumbi Ajayi says, what is the NBA doing to ensure that clients are not adjudged from a lawyer by other lawyers?
Sorry, I didn't get that. So that clients are not
hijacked from a lawyer by other lawyers.
Yes, so that is unprofessional. That is unprofessional. What are we doing? Any such case that comes to our attention, we will take it up with the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee. We take it up with the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee. It's unprofessional, it's unethical. You don't hijack your client's case. I mean, if your colleague is in a matter, the rules of professional conduct don't even allow you to speak to the client except through the lawyer. You can't have any business with the client. So to even go and begin to hijack the brief is totally wrong, it's unprofessional, it's condemnable, it is not noble. I mean, a lawyer should not be associated with that. And that is the way to deal with those particular issues. And I think I missed the other part of the question, talking about what are we doing with respect to the mentoring sessions. I would advise you to stay with the notices that you get from the Institute of Continuing Legal Education. This hand-holding session is a mentoring session. Series is a mentoring series. Just stay with the Continuing Legal Education Institute. You will get notices, the programs and the nature of the trainings will be shared to you, and do well to participate in them. And there is also another benefit you get, because we said if you maintain a certain level of participation in the trainings of the Institute of Continuing Legal Education, you would enjoy 50% discount, 50% discount with respect to payment of registration fees for the annual general conference coming up this year. It's a promise that we made, and we are giving it as an incentive so that our colleagues will participate fully participate and be consistent with the trainings of the Institute of Continuing Legal Education. So there is an incentive to do that, but then again, the most important incentive is the fact that you are developing yourself. It's not really about going for the conference. Of course, going for the conference itself is another means of improving yourself, and that is the primary purpose of the Institute of Continuing Legal Education. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Leonard. So there's another question here from Yusuf, and he says that the principle in the health insurance is that the higher the number of enrollees, the lower the premium to be paid. Considering our large number, I would like the NBA to negotiate a lower premium with the National Health Insurance Agency. I believe based on the number, a premium of 50,000 for a family plan will be better, will be rather on a higher side. I have been in the industry for a while, so I know the intricacies of actuarial costing. Thank you, Yusuf Sule.
Well, Yusuf Sule, thank you very much. We like to have people that have experience in this respect. I don't know of any health insurance scheme that is as low as 15,000 per person, where you come into the scheme irrespective of your health condition. So, for instance, you can come with renal condition and you still pay 15,000 naira. I mean, your exposure, your health condition usually determines what you pay. You know, in insurance, you said you have that experience. Please, I invite you to come and meet with me. There is a basis for us to negotiate downwards. We will do that. But we've done our very possible best. We did our market survey in that respect. We talked with other health insurance companies, and I believe that 15,000 naira that we negotiated remains the best that you can get in this country so far. But I want any suggestions from you to help us improve on that. And like I said, I mean, you also enjoy the same amount of money in payment for members of your family, irrespective of whether they are members of the association. That's the concession that we are getting. And I think it's good. But like I said, I mean, whatever would make our situation better, we are all open. So feel free, you can contact me, come to the secretariat. I don't know where you are, Mr. Yusuf, but you can come to the secretariat and meet with me, and I will have you talk with our desk officer and take it up from there.
Thank you, Leonard. So Oluchukwu has asked, he says, I'm sincerely glad to hear you address on all these issues. Is there any NBA national journal for publication? If there is, are new Wigs also allowed to publish their articles therein? How can I get some more information regarding this?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Is there anyone?
NBA National Journal.
Yes, yes. NBA National Journal. I mean, I don't know who is asking
new
that.
Wigs can publish articles.
Oh, yes, yes. As a matter of fact, that committee has been constituted. The Vice Chancellor of Professor Chukwuemeka is the editor, is the chairman of the governing council. We've set up a committee. Young lawyers can, anybody, any lawyer can publish in the NBA journal. Please watch out in your mail. You will receive a notice maybe before the close of work today or tomorrow. You will receive a notice of the constitution of that committee and details of how you can reach that committee with your publication.
Thank you, sir. There are a few concerns about the bar practicing fees. The confirm payment button doesn't work on the payment website. This is Isobeye. Then Chineku says, some of us paid our practicing fee immediately after our call to bar. Do we still have to pay again?
Yes, so if you have any concerns with respect to the payment of your bar practicing fee, I'm sure on the notice, there is, we have a help desk, we have a number you can call. I know a number of our colleagues encountered certain difficulties in the payment of their fees, but once they get in touch with our people on the help desk, they've been able to resolve it. With the payment that you made last year, I was called in December 1990. I paid in December, and by January 1991, I also paid. So yes, if you paid for the year of your call, it is counted for you for that year, and you need to also pay this year, and that has to be done on or before the 31st of March 2023. So that of last year will be counted for you for 2022. For this year, you have to pay on or before the 31st of March 2023. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Leonard. So,
Yes.
I think the other questions further on our practicing fees. Fees are we required to still pay? And I think you've answered that. And then your commitment to helping us get a Supreme Court enrollment numbers. Thank you. And Didi says, will certificates of attendance be issued to attendees of this training? That's for us on the ICLE. We noted those who are in attendance. And then the other question again is by the payment for 5,000 for law pavilion, 15,000 for health insurance. Is it to be paid yearly or is it on a one-time payment?
Okay, so you enjoy the license for 1 year for Law Pavilion. It is for a duration of 1 year from the time that you are activated until the period of 1 year expires. For the 15,000 Naira, it is not a one-time payment. You renew your insurance policy by the payment of 15,000 every year. You know, when you pay 15,000 Naira, the insurance company are helping to pray with you so you don't fall sick. Because with 15,000 Naira, should you fall sick, you can go and take treatment for nearly $1 million. And they have to pay. So it's yearly payment, and it is just before the expiry of the subsisting the subsisting insurance policy. So it's a yearly payment.
Thank you. Chineye says, can the MBA insurance scheme be used at the Federal Medical Center?
Okay, yes. So we have once you come on board, we have over 5,000 medical facilities across the country. And it is for you in the completion of the form to choose a health facility proximate to where you live, where you stay. So yes, Federal Medical Center is one of such facilities, but it's safe to just refer you to the list of all the facilities that are under the health insurance scheme in the country, across the country. I mean, it's amazing the number of facilities that are under that scheme. And what I would direct is immediately after this meeting, I would instruct that information, we can put it on the ICLE website, either website or the MBA website, or if there is a WhatsApp platform, we can put it there so that you can choose, including the form that you need to complete. And you can see the requirements for the form, you complete it, and upon payment of 15,000 naira, you'll be able to get onboarded. Usually what we require is for you to send it back to us, and we would make the submission to the NHIS. We have someone who is designated to do that. You get onboarded and you begin to enjoy healthcare service at the facility of your choice. And there is also the benefit where you go to the facility of your choice and they don't render the particular service you need at that time. You can be referred by that facility or by that hospital to another hospital where you can enjoy that service still within the insurance cover.
Thank you, sir. I think I must join Damilola to thank you again, Mr. President, and the panelists. You've answered pretty much all the questions. Thank you for taking out of your time to share your wealth of experience with us and the young lawyers. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, shall I hand over to you?
It's such an honor and a privilege to be here. And I believe that our younger colleagues are in for a wonderful time in this profession. Every struggle that we are doing right now is to protect the legal space for our younger ones, provide them with the resource for them to develop themselves so they can compete with any of their colleagues across the entire world. That is the commitment of the Nigerian Bar Association. That is the effort that we are making. That is what we owe you. And it's a debt that we have to pay, and we appreciate God for the benefit of bringing us to this place. And by the special grace of God, we will not fail you. That is what we are going to do to protect the legal space for you jealously so that you can come and be the best and allow that excellence that you carry find expression in our community. Thank you very much, Mabel. Thank you, Mr. Chobena.
Yes, Mr. President. Very great way of making a closing remark. I'll very quickly just apologize to participants for the chat box having come on very late, but then I can see the commentary that's coming. There's quite positive and enthusiastic commentary from participants. Great, and kudos to Mr. President, very educative, very heartwarming and interesting. And so on and so forth from participants. It's not always that lawyers find time to participate in these kinds of sessions, but I must tell you, having practiced for about 20 years, that these are the things that actually make the difference. And there's a balance in training that one must find between soft skills and technical subject matter areas. Mr. President, on behalf of the Institute of Continuing Legal Education of the Nigerian Bar Association, I thank you for taking the time out to lead on this initiative. We're very grateful to you. I have learned a lot myself from listening to you, and I'm sure that every participant today would have taken home one or two things from the 1 hour long lecture. And I'm also happy with the way you dealt with all the questions. Thank you very much. For the participants, we're very grateful that you all logged in. I hope that you take the enthusiasm that you expressed here back to your colleagues and let them know that in the coming weeks, almost on an everyday basis, you're going to be having sessions that are now going to drill down on some of the things that the president talked about today more specifically. The idea behind this is to make sure that you have all the support that you need in navigating your way through the profession. In 2 days' time, you will have a panel made up of Kelechi Ibe and Yimika Adesola speaking to you about getting started in the profession. On Friday, you're going to have a team from Jobberman also looking at professional growth. And these are things that I think are invaluable. And I hope that you all continue to log in, encourage your colleagues to log in. We'll have a clear picture of how many people that participated today, but I think we'll be talking about 300 to 400, whilst indeed we had more than 1,500 people registered. So do take home what you've learned today and encourage your colleagues to participate. Finally, I just want you to know that every training session by the MBA ICLE is stored on the MBA YouTube channel. And that YouTube channel is MBA HQ. So all the trainings we've had, you can just go there and explore and try and engage with the process. This is free, it is accessible. And then on all the questions that have been asked too, I note that it's all about information, but I must say that the MBA under the president is very good with information dissemination. Just make sure you keep looking at your email and keep looking at the bloggers. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Mr. Tobena, just a moment. I've seen two questions here. Let me just quickly speak to them before you run up. Number one, and it's because it's coming back to you. Number one is saying that the sections and forums seem to concentrate in Lagos and Abuja. Yes, that used to be the case. And the question by Chidera is that, or the call is that we should advise them to go outside of Abuja and Lagos. While I agree with you, the section of business law is beginning to take steps to expand its reach. They had the session, I think, last year in December here in Abuja, just to allow our colleagues in the northern zone to begin to participate. And they are moving into the northern area the more. We will continue to do that. It's something that they've started, and would encourage them to do more. And Mr. Tobena, ICLE, the question is, do you collaborate with certain professional bodies, ICM, MC, Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, Institute of Taxation, and all, and ICSAN and CIR, so that you reduce rates for them? I believe it's something that you do, so it will be refreshing for them to know that you collaborate with all these bodies, and we can have reduced fees for our colleagues to participate and also get certification. It's part of what Mr. Tobena is doing for you, so please feel free. Just make sure, like I said, cultivate a romance with the Institute of Continuing Legal Education, and you will just have the best of experience doing that. Thank you very much, Tobena. Sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Very useful. I would have missed those myself. And you've answered the question on our collaboration. We're collaborating with as many institutions as possible. In fact, part of what we're doing with them is to get them to give some free trainings while then negotiating down the fees for participating in certification courses. We've tried some pilots in different branches, and we want to now make it universal so that everybody benefits from them. We'll keep the information flow going. I just encourage you to speak, even if you don't have access to information. Get to your chairman or secretary. Make sure you're on the WhatsApp platform of your branch so that you don't miss out on information. Make sure that the branch has your information, and that whenever emails come from the national, you see them, so you can subscribe to all that is being done by the MBA on a daily basis. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Mr. President, I hope that we'll see you on other sessions when you have the time, and then just to come and see what's going on.
I'm always available. That's why you elected me. I'm always here. Just give me good notice and I'll be with our colleagues to share our experience. They have to be better than us. They have to be better than us. And don't mind me, we are not going to make height a requirement to be a president. So you know you can be president, you don't have to be this tall.
Thank you, Mr. President. God bless you and God bless everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you. God bless you.